You know, you were on the Katie Miller podcast, and you said in regards to your relationship with Trump and has it cost the UFC business, you said, I don't give a shit. I don't know the answer to that question. I've gotten to a point in my life, especially after COVID and all that nutty shit that went on during that time, that I only want to be in business with and talk to people that I'm aligned with.
Well, I don't know about talk to people that I'm aligned, but I want to do business with people that I'm aligned with for sure.
So you're aligned with Trump on what exactly?
Well, Trump is a good friend of mine. I mean, I've been friends with him for 25 years. Mm-hmm. Friends. I mean, he just happened to become the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. And he and I have never had he had us at the Trump Taj Mahal. When we first bought this company, the stigma that was attached to this thing, you can imagine, think about this. It wasn't allowed on pay-per-view. You as a grown adult didn't have the option to buy it on pay-per-view. Porn was on pay-per-view. The UFC was not allowed on pay-per-view. That was the uphill battle we had. So you can imagine venues didn't want us because these guys were like, what kind of people will show up to watch this kind of an event? And he had us at the Trump Taj Mahal for the first two fights, 30 and 31, UFC 30 and 31. And then after we did those two fights, first he showed up for the first fight of the night and stayed till the end for both events. And you think the Trump brand then and the UFC brand, and every good thing that ever happened to me in my career after that, he was always the first guy to reach out. So then when he was running in 16, he called me and asked me, would you speak for me at the Republican convention? And everybody told me not to do it. Don't do it. This is going to be bad. And he's never going to win and all that kind of stuff. But this was a guy that was always good to me and, always treated me well, and I did it.
I can understand that. That's your friend. But when your friend has a disapproval rating of 62%, right, record high, people say they don't like his handling of the Iran war, the economy's shitty, cost of living for people is fucked up. Why can't you tell your friend he's failing the people? As a friend.
Well, he's the president of the United States.
Still your friend, though.
And, yeah, I know. But, for me to get involved in, it's like if your friend had I'm sure people disagree with you that are friends with you, and everybody has friends that you just doesn't mean you're not friends with them anymore. It doesn't mean that you.
Oh, no, I didn't say you shouldn't be friends with them. I just said, why can't you tell your friend he's failing the people? Because these are the same people who make UFC a success.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that he's failing the people. I think that when the president is done in 3 years, people will look back on and realize a lot of the good things. See, I'm closer to him too, and I see all the good things that he does that a lot of people, either don't see or don't want to see.
But tariff inflation has increased the price of household goods, increased utility bills because household electricity costs have gone up 9%. The failure to extend the Affordable Care Act has fucked up people's health care. Everyday working class people who support your sport are hurting.
You're never going to have a president that sits in the White House that everybody approves 100% of everything they do, and not everything is always going to be perfect. You're going to have some things that work out great and a lot of things that don't. It's no different than running a business or any other thing. Nobody's ever going to be absolutely perfect.
Oh, I agree.
When they're the president of the United States.
But can you tell your friend when he's...
Yeah, we talk about a lot of things, but I don't try to get into...
You like everything he's doing?
Like I just said, you're never going to agree with everything. But, as a friend, I'm not going out there. And he and I have never, other than the first two UFC events, nothing with us is transactional.
So your relationship with Trump is bigger than business. It's actually personal.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a real friendship, not some type of, he has lots of friends, especially now that he's the president. We don't have that. We've had a 25-year real friendship and real relationship.
But don't be a glazer, though, Dana.
Don't be what?
A glazer. Like just somebody that just tells him he's great. A yes man, basically.
Yeah.
You got to tell him when he's...
I don't think anybody's ever accused me of being a yes man. Okay. And I think that's that's part of it. But listen, I'm not an overly political person either.
Are you part of the MAGA movement culturally? Do you align with their ideologies and their values?
I consider myself right down the middle or leaning a little liberal, to be honest with you. Everybody thinks I'm some far right guy because of our relationship. I'm more about common sense. I'm a common sense guy. And if it makes sense to me, then I'm probably in.
So when you see the Joe Rogans, the Theo Vaughns, the Andrew Schultzes, actually, calling out Trump and what they don't like. What do you think of that?
I think that everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and if there's things that you see that you don't like, and you want to be political, call them out.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Most CEOs try to stay politically neutral to protect the brand. You almost seem kind of like proud to be political, I guess.
Not proud to be political. I mean, I'm just saying that this guy is my friend, and nothing is perfect. And whoever is the next president, right or left, isn't going to be perfect either. I just think that I don't base my relationship with him on politics.
Well, what about when people say that you're the reason why a lot of young male voters, because of, you have seen everything that you have, voted for Trump? And that was something that, like, even if you didn't mean to do, it was widely talked about, and you still leaned into helping his popularity in the space.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But that gets political then.
Yeah.
So you're responsible for the high tariffs and the high inflation costs, and
I guess so. I guess if that's the way you want to look at it,
for people
it's all my fault.
No, I'm just saying you're responsible for people's healthcare getting cut. I'm just saying, like, that's what you're essentially saying.
Okay.
Jesus.
I mean, I don't. I that's not the way I look at it, but I guess I could see why you would look at it that way, and you could, frame it like that.
What's the craziest thing a fighter has asked you for besides money? Is there anything on the side that a fighter said, "This is weird" or "This is strange"?
Cocaine?
No, nobody's ever asked me for cocaine.
You heard that one loud.
Shit, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it. Well, to go with Charlamagne here, I got a fighter right now whose wife got grabbed by ICE. Yeah.
Oh, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Was there a conversation with your sponsors or anybody on the business side when that video went viral of you and your wife in the club?
Yeah.
And with the slapping, with you slapping her slapping you?
Yeah.
When they reached out to you, what did they, like, how did that conversation go?
We didn't have any sponsor problems during that. I think that my wife and I jumped on that immediately. And again, that was more of we had to deal with our kids with that one. When you embarrass your children on a global level, that's one of the worst things that can ever happen to you. I didn't have any sponsorship problems with that.
I was at TMZ at the time when that video went up and like the whole debacle and like, whatever. And one thing I will say is your relationships have afforded you a lot of like empathy and grace. Like the way that they handled that situation with you and allowing you to speak out for yourself, like as it was published, I had never seen that in my time being in the newsroom.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was my first time ever realizing like relationships can change a narrative 100%. And they reported it honestly, but they allowed you to, at the same time that the video is going up, you're speaking for yourself and apologizing. And I was just like, wow. I always told myself if I ever got a chance to meet you, I would really want to talk to you about that because I'd never seen that before. Interesting.
Yeah. We were apologizing to our children, my wife and I, when that happened. And I think that a lot of the people that I've been in business with and that I'm friends with know me really well. Yeah, it's just one of those. It was bad, and we jumped right on it and dealt with it. And I don't think that when I got back from Mexico, it was 64 days of just
people
getting hammered. Yeah, I mean, and I live in Vegas, so I was waking up at like 3 a.m. every morning because the East Coast is cracking off at 6 o'clock with all the talk shows and sports shows, and I had to make the rounds and do all the interviews. And I say this all the time: you find out who's who and what's what when the shit hits the fan. And I learned a lot about a lot of people during that time, in mostly a positive way, not negative.
If a UFC fighter was caught on camera,
it's happened.
Oh, it's happened.
Oh, God,
okay.
And that's why you.
I wonder would they have been treated the same way?
What's funny is that it's not funny, but I used to say that you don't recover from those. Those are ones you don't recover from.
Mm-hmm. But you did.
I did.
Do you think being the boss protected you from consequences that employees or athletes?
No, definitely not.
No, definitely, Dana. Come on.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
You made the choice publicly not to excuse yourself from the brand.
You chose publicly to not what?
To excuse yourself or give yourself
like
a...
Nobody
you said,
can fire
100%.
Yeah, like,
well, listen, there's a board of directors. There's there's other people that are involved that could have pushed for that. But yeah, I think that, and obviously they think too, it would have hurt the company more if I did step away.
And you've disciplined fighters for public behavior that was unbecoming to the company before, right?
Well, I mean, I'm probably the most lenient, the most lenient guy in sports when it comes to dealing with, whether it's free speech or bad things that happen. And, I'm in the fight business. It's not like I run Microsoft. You know what I mean? So.
So what standard did you hold yourself to in that moment?
Yeah, listen, obviously that's not what it was. Yeah, I mean, it's as bad as it could get. I mean, I hold myself to, I would never in a million years think that was going to happen. And I say this all the time. Nobody knows you better than your kids do. Mm-hmm, and, your kids, whoever you really are, your kids see it. They hear it, everything that goes on at home. And,
how did they react to that incident?
My oldest son didn't talk to us for like 4 days. We had to, and
how old was he at the time?
Huh?
How old was your oldest son at the time?
He was in college, so he was 19 probably. Yeah.
Wow.
19, 20. And we the first thing that her and I did was handle the situation with the kids. And then obviously I had to handle the business side of the whole thing, but yeah, we handled the kids first.
How did power slaps get started?
That's a terrible segue. I don't know if that was a terrible segue or a great segue.
But
I'm conflicted right now. I think it was great though.
Was power
I
slaps?
think it was great.
Power slaps is in the ring.
It's a
not
little wild.
Oh, I thought he was talking about. I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Just like, not y'all just be out here power
That
slapping.
was great.
I
I think that was good. I just got a couple questions because I do want to go back to the slap thing. What responsibility do you feel knowing that you're a person who a lot of young men idolize as a leader? And for the young men that saw that footage, what responsibility do you feel?
Yeah, a lot. No, it's bad. And not my finest moment. I don't want to blame anything other than the fact that it happened. I did it. And, now from probably the worst thing that can happen to you is somebody, oh, this guy's a wife beater, or, but that's the kind of things that I have to hear, for the rest of my life. And my kids have to hear that. So yes, it's a big deal to me. And I take it very serious that video exists and that young men see that happening. Yeah.
And a lot of men only truly face accountability when there are financial consequences, like men in your position rather. So since there really weren't any major financial consequences for you, do you feel like you truly experienced accountability?
Yeah, I don't know if financial consequences are how does that affect me in any way, shape, or form financially? If how it affects me is that
if you lose sponsorships, what I mean, your business starts.
I don't care about that kind of shit. That I don't care about that stuff. That literally means nothing to me.
Damn, you rich. You rich as fuck.
It's not even that. I've been broke. I've had money. I've done it all. There's so much more to life than just that. The money or the finances or the sponsors or the this or that. The fact that, I embarrassed my kids and that hangs on my name and on my head forever. It's just, if you are a young man, you don't ever want to do that to you. You just don't want to do that to yourself. And you get in these positions where I would tell you before that happened, I would have told you that would never happen to me. And there will never be a scenario that could ever play out where I would be a part of that. It would just never happen. And it did.
And
you have to, if that's who you are and that's what you do and that's what you've done and that's normal to you, then you don't feel the way that I feel about it. I'm trying to explain this to you in the best way possible, So as a young man, or an older man. If you start to feel yourself in a position where something like that starts to escalate, get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Literally run. Run. Get out of there and take yourself out of that situation immediately.
Hold up. Every day I wake up. Wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?